If you clicked on this video, it's probably because you are a beginner playing chess. I was a beginner at some point. Now I'm an international hood grandmaster. Before we get into the video, man, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe already if you're new to the channel. But let's get into it, man. I don't want to waste no time, man. Let's just get straight into that thing, all right? Let's get into it. All right, so the first opening I'm going to show you guys, right, is the Queen's Gambit. Now, the Queen's Gambit is probably the most famous chess movie ever. And it started the chess boom. So that's going to start with d4, right? Now, the thing about openings in chess, right? Now, when you say an opening, if you're a beginner, you're probably like, well, what the hell is an opening, right? An opening is how you start the game, right? And there are many different ways to start the game, many different openings, right? So the Queen's Gambit is probably like one of the most played variations or most played lines of chess, right? And it goes like this, right? Usually. Now, this position can arise out of different move orders. Not this move order. It's only one way to get this. But let's say like this position, right? The idea is for white is you post these two pawns, right? Now, most of the time, black won't play until your opening. So your opening ideas are kind of loose. But black usually plays this way, right? You're going to develop this knight first. They probably go here. You go here. Let's say they do this, which most people probably do. And I'm just going to suggest kicking this knight. So let's just say like the game starts like this. What I want you to focus on mainly, though, is the first two pawns, okay? This is considered the Queen's Gambit in my eyes, all right? The engine is saying Slav defense, Slav this, Slav that. Nobody gives a Slav, right? People do this. Now, in the Queen's Gambit, most people take this pawn. So instead of pushing this pawn, black usually takes, right? And then this starts the Queen's Gambit. Okay, let's just say this is the Queen's Gambit, all right? Which is the engine. This is calling this a Queen's Gambit, and most probably grandmasters would say this is the Queen's Gambit. Accept it, right? But black doesn't have to. Black doesn't have to accept this pawn. They can just do something like this, and then you just play here, right? Okay, but let's say, for instance, they take the pawn, which is what you're hoping for. You're hoping black takes this, so white can get the two pawns in the center. This is like a variation of the Queen's Gambit, but this is not the one I play. I play a more moderate variation where I just go here first. All right, but like the traditional Queen's Gambit is played like this. White takes the center. Okay, that's the idea. Usually in chess, whoever controls the center is winning. You know, that's the whole idea. Control the center. Take control of the center. So you got these two pawns eyeing these squares. If black were to, like, say, push here, you just take the full middle. Let's just take the full center and lock these bad boys in there. Now, the engine saying that gives black the favor. You should probably just go knight f3 here, and if they take, you take back with the knight. That's what the engine's suggesting, but hey, don't listen to the robots, all right? I suggest pushing this pawn. That's what I would do. And that's one opening for white to start, right? So that's the Queen's Gambit. Just mainly, you're pushing these two pawns here. And if they take this pawn, you push that pawn, right? Get used to seeing the pawns too with the arrows. Notice how I didn't move the pawns and I did it with arrows. When you play chess and you're a beginner, you have to learn how to visualize. So learn to see pieces where they aren't yet. All right, that's how you learn how to calculate tactics in like 3, 4, 5 move combos because you're seeing it on the board before it happens. So that was a d4 opening. I'm going to give you an e4 opening. Now, the difference between d4 and e4, chess enthusiasts would say that d4 openings are more positional and e4 openings are more aggressive and tactical, right? So if you're going for aggressive games, you want to end the game early, you're not trying to make it to the end game, play an e4 opening, right? So I'm going to give you an e4 opening with white. Now, this is one of the most common e4 openings. It's going e4 at e5, right? So if you push this pawn and then black responds with pushing their central pawn as well, right? You go here to attack this pawn, right? Say, for instance, they bring their knight here. to attack this pawn. I mean, to protect the pawn so you can't take with your knight, right? You go here. Let's say, for instance, they play a move like this. You jump your knight here with the idea of, wait, no, not now. You push this pawn here to d4, right? If they take, the idea is you hop your knight in here with this idea. You either take with the bishop or take with the knight. Let's say, for instance, they just play a random move like this. You either have knight takes, which forks the king and the queen, right? Or you have bishop takes, which is a check. King has to move down, and they lose their castling rights. So black's king is in the middle looking crazy, and they can no longer castle. That's the whole like idea behind the fried liver attack. And that's what this is called. So what I'm about to say is going to be kind of counterintuitive, but when you learn openings, try not to focus on quote unquote moves and move order, but the ideas of the opening. I remember the fried liver attack because you're trying to set up this knight hop here and attack on this square here. So that's how I remember it. So just remember kind of like the vague ideas of I'm attacking this pawn. All right. So that's the fried liver. We did the Queen's Gambit. We got the fried liver. And then I'm going to give you another powerful opening with e4, right? Because I'm an e4 player myself. I go for tactics and I like to play aggressive, right? So let's say, for instance, you go e4. And instead of pushing their central pawn here, let's say they go here, play the Sicilian, right? So you're going to play what is known as the Smith-Morra Gambit. You're gambiting pawns for initiative, right? And most people would say don't tell beginners to play this way, but I would tell beginners to play this way because I want you to learn how to play aggressive and look for tactics. You want to be a tactical player. Being a positioner player is cool, but it's slow and boring. You know what I mean? You want to go for tactics and play for aggression. And that's what I tell my students anyway. Okay, so you're gonna push this pawn here. Okay? If they take this pawn, you're gonna offer another pawn, which is this one. Now, if they take this pawn, you take with the knight. All right. You gambit this pawn, okay? If they take, you take with the knight. Follow me? Let's say, for instance, they do any move. Let's say for here, right? You're going to develop this knight. Develop this bishop here. Let's say, for instance, they go here. You develop your knight. Let's say, for instance, they go here. And you want to castle. Now, look at black's position and look at white's position, right? Black move pawns. None of their pieces are developed. The knight's not developed. No knights developed. Bishop's still there. And look at your pieces. Both knights are developed. A bishop's out. You're castled already, right? You're castled. And your opponent is not castled yet. And they're probably get the knight out. Move the pawn so they can get the bishop out. Move the knight out. They're like 3 moves away from castling, right? In chess, you want to talk about king safety. So when you talk about king safety, from a scale of 1 to 10, your king is about a 10, and their king is about a 4 or 5, 3, 4 or 5, looking shaky over here, big fella. You know what I'm saying? King over here looking shaky, scary, big fella. All the pieces in the back row, nothing's developed. This is the whole purpose and idea of the Smith-Morra Gambit. Fast development for sacrificing 2 early pawns, right? All right, so just like I said, try to remember ideas before you remember quote-unquote move order. And I know that's counterintuitive when you're learning openings as a beginner, but I'm just trying to get you acquainted with the learning concepts. So that was 3 openings for white. Now let's flip the board and let's learn for black, right? So you know that black can play, white can go e4 or d4, right? Those are the main openings. That's why I'm trying to tell you guys, give you guys that for white, and then give you the defensive tools with the black pieces. So if they go d4, if they go e4, which means they're trying to play aggressive, right? I suggest playing the Sicilian. Okay, that's c5. That's this. And what this does is you're counter-attacking the center and not allowing black to grasp it. So like if they try here, you're going to take this pawn all the time. Now, I don't know if you can remember that the weapon that I told you to use against this opening was the Smith-Morra Gambit, where you gambit this pawn as well. But I'm going to tell you, don't take that, and you just play here. Don't take the pawn back, because if you take this pawn, you're asking for trouble. All right? Don't ask for trouble. We're going to trust that your opponent knows what they're doing, and you're just going to play this pawn here. Play it cool. What you want to do now is keep these pawns intact. So, let's say, for instance, they take, and you push here, and they push here. The idea is you just keep these pawns intact, right? Develop your knight. You can probably do your bishop here. Let's say, for instance, they go here. I'm going to bring this knight here. Bring this pawn here. Bring the bishop here. And your idea is just a castle. All right? Castle. Castle. Okay? That's all you're trying to do. And remember this pawn structure, because now your play is going to be on the queen side. So this bishop, if you try to move this bishop here, it's probably never going to have scope. Maybe get the bishop here. Push this pawn, get the bishop here. Trade it off and open up the file for the rook. Ideas. You know what I'm saying? Just go for ideas. They're probably going to castle. You bring your knight out. And these are probably how the games are going to go. But your pawn structure is going to be the same. And I personally like playing this pawn structure with black. So if white plays e4 in this move, take it all the time. If white plays anything other than that, I suggest just taking the middle. So if white plays anything other than even I go c5 against d4 as well. With black, well, it's kind of harder to give openings for black because black goes second. And you're more so in response to what white plays. So you have to have a good defense against white, because white has several opening moves. White literally has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 opening moves on move 1. They can move their knight here. They can move it here. They can move this knight here. They can move this pawn. They can move this pawn. They have 12 opening options, right? So if white does anything else other than take the middle, you're going to take the middle, right? So if white goes here, I suggest you take the middle, right? This is not even the opening. I'm not even giving you an opening right now, right? Because honestly, as a 2000 rated player, chess openings don't matter. It's your tactics and your understanding of the positions, right? So if I was not to just give you an opening and just tell you, like, play the best move, take the center. Remember I told you that concept earlier. That's the concept in chess you want to do. Take the center of the board, all right? So if white doesn't take the center, you take the center, all right? If they're going to give it to you, you play, you take it, all right? Let's say, for instance, they do something like this. Okay, cool, you take it, okay? They go here, okay, cool, we're vibing, okay? And another thing that you need to remember in chess is pawn chains is important. So if you can get this pawn chain going, say, for instance, like, I'm just giving you an idea. This pawn chain, it's probably good, all right? Keep your pawns connected. So that would be like my second opening, for black, which isn't really an opening. It's just take the center if white doesn't. If white doesn't, okay. And what's a third opening I can use for black? So I gave you an opening against e4, and then I gave you an opening against anything not taking the middle. So I'm going to give you the d4 opening as well. So if they play d4, right, I suggest the King's Indian, right? And the King's Indian is going to have this same setup every time, right? So this knight here, 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 castle. The objective is to castle fast, all right? So they're going to, let's say white does whatever they do, right? This is your idea. Say white does whatever they do. Boom, you want to castle. Look how fast you castle. Look. I'm already castled. What is white doing? White is how many moves from castling? White's how many moves from castling, right? Always push in the King's Indian. Always push this pawn here. So just remember these structures, all right? Remember these pawn structures, and it's not hard. It's not hard to remember at all because you're going to be a beast and you're going to remember all your openings, right? Right. Okay. So the idea is just develop the knight, boom, move the pawn up, bishop out, castle. Soon as possible. That's your first moves. And then this pawn right here, d6. King's Indian, boom. I just gave you 6 openings that you can use as a beginner in chess, all right? Now, the next part of your chess is, once you get past openings, is working on your tactics, working on your understanding of positions. And that just comes with time, all right? I don't want you to feel pressure to have to learn those things. That just comes with time. And if you really have love for the game of chess and you play a lot of games, you'll just start understanding that stuff like subconsciously, all right? So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you comment if you enjoyed it. And let's play some chess sometimes.